What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 4 for 4 Philly Fan Podcast. And the news broke today that Doug Pederson has been fired by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he will not be the head coach for next season. My initial reaction, I was at the gym, just working out, and I looked down at my phone, and, there was news all morning long that Doug Pederson and Jeffrey Lurie were not, they were just not agreeing on anything, and this and that, and everything was pretty much about Doug this morning. For the first time in a while, it seems like, because, as we all know, the Eagles, what the news has been mainly about for the Eagles has been Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. I look down at my phone, and I see that Doug Pederson has been relieved of his coaching duties as a Philadelphia Eagles head coach. I was shocked. I cannot say it any better. I was shocked. I did not expect it to happen this early. I did not expect it to happen at all, especially after the first week of, playoffs just happened. I thought if it was to happen, it would have happened last week. It would have happened right after the Washington game. And, maybe a day or two later, Doug Pederson would have been fired. But we get the news today that Doug has been fired. But there is still so much wrong with this team. And I think the main issue of this team is still with the Eagles. And I do think that Howie Roseman has been and is the main problem of this team. Now you add another thing to this long list of off-season duties that you have to fulfill. You need a new defensive coordinator. You need a new head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. You need pretty much everything to do with coaching. That's what you need. They pretty much grabbed it and blew it up. That's all that's what this team did royally. They blew it up. They blew up the coaching staff. You still have quarterback controversy with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, and whoever comes in as a head coach, obviously that's going to be their number one reason for coming here. Who do they want to coach? Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts? And that's where I think that, you could see a list of guys wanting to coach the Eagles, because it will be their job, their first job as a head coach. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with either one of these guys. And it's definitely going to be, something to keep an eye out. And I have a couple, list of coaches so far that I think that the Eagles could, sign. I truly do. And I'm going to list them off to you guys. And, let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with me, if you like this guy better than this guy. But the top 4 or 5 guys that I think that could be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles are Mike Kafka from the Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback coach, another Andy Reid guy. He played for the Eagles. He was a backup quarterback just like Doug Pederson. I would not be surprised. He is definitely not one of the guys that I would want, but he is definitely a guy that I think the Eagles could end up signing, if not signing. Anthony Lynn. The Chargers just fired him. He was a solid coach for the LA Chargers. And, him with Justin Herbert, I think they won like 6 or 7 games this year. That's not awful. I just think that, he was there for 4 or 5 years. So they had to move on from him. But I don't think Anthony Lynn is too bad of a coach. Now here is where we go to the college level. And these are 2 guys that I think a lot of fans would rather have, and that's Lincoln Riley and Joe Brady. LSU offensive coordinator Joe Brady, and Lincoln Riley is the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Jalen Hurts' old head coach at Oklahoma. I think that could really have a lot to do with who they want to go with leading forward, Carson or Jalen Hurts. But I do think that the firing of Doug Pederson, it helps Carson a little bit. It helps his case out a little bit with, his job security here in Philadelphia. I definitely believe that that's the case. And, Doug just did not fit with Carson at all, for especially the last 3 years. And, you know, everything that Doug did for this team, I thank him. And he's a great dude. He's a little stubborn. He just likes doing things his way. And that was one of the reports that Ian Rappaport put out. That Doug Pederson was tired of being told what to do, and he wanted to do it his way. Well, guess what, Doug? You did it your way for a year, and you had arguably one of the worst Eagles seasons in history. Since I've been born, that was probably the worst Eagles season that I've ever seen. And that's just the truth. You couldn't beat the Bengals. You couldn't beat the teams you were supposed to beat. You blew it in the last game, which I understand why you did it. You got him a higher pick. You got the 6th overall pick instead of the 9th or the 10th. I understand that from a fan's perspective, and I wanted that to happen. But the way he did it just looked terrible. You pulled Jalen Hurts because they would have won the game. It's downright simple. The Eagles would have won that game if Jalen Hurts stayed in the whole time. It would have been. That's what would have happened. But you couldn't, and it made the organization look bad. It made fans start questioning everything. And, now you got everything that's coming out with Jeffrey Lurie and everything. It was not going to be a Cinderella story ending for Doug Pederson after this season. It wasn't. It's not a fairy tale ending. It was going to be, you're either going to get fired or you're going to have to do things that will help this organization. And he didn't want to do that. Obviously, he wants to win. He's a good coach. He's a solid head coach in this league. But he's stubborn. He is. He wants to do it the Doug way. And the Doug way got you to one of the worst Eagles seasons ever. That's why he is fired. That is why he is no longer here. Not because of his record, not because of his Super Bowl, because Doug Pederson, what we saw from last season, that's what you would have gotten for next year. Nothing would have changed with Doug. Howie and Doug are like twins. They are two peas in a pod. They weren't getting split up. They weren't. But now that Howie Roseman is still here and Doug Pederson is gone, you got to look at Howie and really tell him what's up. You got to tell him what he can and cannot do. And I think the first thing is, if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, what I'm telling Howie Roseman, I'm telling him straight up, dude, you're not touching that draft board. You have messed up this system. You have messed up this team horrendously, tremendously, horribly. He has destroyed this team. He has. Look at who we drafted. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor, and look, you have DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson as all pros. All pros. Pro bowlers. They're two peas in a pod. They like doing things their own way. And the Howie and Doug show is now over in Philadelphia. We will obviously still have to see what's going to go on with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, but that's a secondary thought now. Now you got to worry about who is going to be your next head coach. Is it going to be Lincoln Riley? Is it going to be Joe Brady? Is it going to be Anthony Lynn? Mike Kafka? Who is it going to be? DeFilippo, is he coming back? The defensive coordinator from San Fran? Who is it going to be? And that is when you're going to know who your quarterback is for the future. Because as soon as you find a head coach, you're going to go through, walkthroughs, and you're going to go through everything like that. But I guarantee, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I believe that Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz will be off the Eagles by the deadline of this upcoming season. Maybe even sooner, depending on when they find the head coach that they truly want. If it's Lincoln Riley, you're going to have Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback. And I think the same with Joe Brady. But if you go Anthony Lynn, who knows? Who knows? It's definitely now going to be an even longer of an offseason for this Eagles team. And, they did it to themselves again. But you can't, as an Eagles fan, I'm not upset about this move. I like Doug as a person, but his coaching scheme did not work out with this team. He threw guys under the bus, like he threw Carson under the bus. He made him look like the bad guy. And, one of them is here and one of them is not, and we will have to see what's going to happen with Carson Wentz. That's what we're going to have to see. But with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in to the 444 Philly Fan Podcast. This is your host. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Doug Pederson has been relieved of their head coaching duties in Philadelphia. Thank you, Doug, for everything you've done for the Super Bowl, for the playoff wins, for the playoffs. But it's time for a change of scenery. With that being said, thank you all again so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'm out. Peace.